I was just kind of numb because I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that I was saying my final goodbyes to my baby. Tell the truth, Tech! Hello, y'all. I'm back. I'm back with a sit-down video. Today is a very, we're gonna say, interesting day for me. I can't call it a good or a bad day because I experienced a lot of emotions this day, both high and lows, but this day started the beginning of my peace journey. So today is the year anniversary for my grandmother Ida Mae's death, and I never really talked to anybody about it. I never really expressed the emotions that I felt, like just what was what. But basically, yes, she did die a year ago today. For those of you who have been with me, you know who my grandma Ida was. You know how much she meant to me. For those of you who are new, that was my gang, my big dog, my big girl, my little lovely lady, my Ida sweet as apple cider. Like, that was my everything. I got her name, her signature put in gold here. I got her name tattooed on my chest. Like, if you know, you know. Cause of death was, she pretty much starved to death because she had Alzheimer's and dementia. And she just got to that point that they all get to when they don't eat, either don't want to eat, forget how to swallow, textures bother them. Like, she just kind of starved to death. So she died pretty much in her sleep, too weak to wake up, essentially. I was not there for her death, but I understood how that process was going to be. I prepared myself for it, and I was mentally okay with the way she was gonna pass. My biggest wish, like growing up, I always said, like, I hope when my grandmother passes, she passes peacefully. And although she starved to death, she was medicated. So it's almost like she didn't feel it. She just kind of drifted off in her sleep. So I'm cool with that. Like, we have no control over that. All right, cool. Fast forward. The way I always thought about my grandmother's death, I planned it like how one would plan a wedding. Like, I had every detail mapped out in my head, from her hair to her clothes, her jewelry, the casket, the colors, the place, the setting, everything, because no one knew my grandmother like how I knew her. I don't think anyone paid attention to the detail of her the way that I did. So I just had this big grand thing in my head for her. Like, it was just gonna be a movement the day of her funeral. Fast forward to planning her funeral, it just kind of went left. There were some family issues when she got to the point that she couldn't take care of herself. She moved in with my uncle, and in my opinion, it probably seemed like the best thing to do because he was the most available, but it was the worst thing to do because she just declined rapidly when she went there. I don't want to go into detail about the experiences, but long story short, my mom ended up with her in the latter part of her days, and I'm so thankful for that because she got at least a good year or almost a year of like really good, healthy, clean, stable living, so to speak. Anyway, so back to her funeral arrangements. Y'all, the people who were in charge of the funeral stuff for my grandmother were the two family members who probably hate me the most, because I am not one to bow down or just kind of take whatever. I'm going to speak up for myself, especially when it comes to my girl. So if something is not right, I'm jumping on you. Like, I'm going to let you know, like, you ain't doing this right. So they were the ones over the funeral arrangements. Needless to say, nothing was done the way that I know my girl would have wanted it to be done. Her obituary, like, everything, like, was just like, I was so disappointed in that experience for my grandmother. I haven't been to very many funerals in my life, but that one, I dreamed of it like a wedding day. Like, it was gonna be a celebration. She wanted her last days to be her best days. She wanted nothing dead. Like, she just liked liveliness, and it was just the worst thing ever, y'all. I had no say in anything, from her hair to her clothes to anything. For her funeral, I drove down by myself. I was just kind of numb because I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that I was saying my final goodbyes to my baby. Got to the funeral home. First of all, I did not get in any family cars. Like, nobody arranged anything for it to be a special moment. I drove myself there, parked on the street like a regular guest. When I got there, the people were handling me as if I was not the granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, no offense to my cousins or whatever, but y'all know how I was about grandma. They were just handling me like I was just some random girl trying to walk in the church and call shots or something. Like, because I tried to go and they were like, no, we have to wait for the family. I'm like, I am the family. Like, I had to go through all that the day of the funeral because nobody knew who I was. When I finally got in, walked up, the casket was open. When I looked at her, I didn't she didn't look bad. She looked good, but she didn't look like her. She looked like the version of her that the people who arranged the funeral wanted her to be. And my grandmother had a very flamboyant style. She did what she wanted. She draped herself in necklaces, big earrings, very gaudy, very lively clothing. Like she would put polka dots with stripes. Like she was just that person, right? Like I love that about her though. I feel like the people who put it together like were embarrassed about that for her. When I went in, the first pew, like the first row of seats, like it was already full of some family members, but I took it to heart because like, why is there not a seat reserved for me to be right here in the front row? So I sat in the second row, me and my mom, and I sat there, and at this point I hadn't looked at the obituary. So finally I sit down, I'm trying to get my thoughts together because just the detail of it, like her casket, the color combo, all of it was just wrong. So sat down and I just had to like bring myself back because I felt my blood boiling. Opened the obituary and that's when I saw everybody was listed on that obituary and I was like one of the last people. There were tons of pictures of her with other people and all that, no pictures of me and her. And like y'all, like it just, I don't know, like I had a moment of rage and just, I'm sorry, this is my first time talking about it since it happened, so I'm gonna get emotional. And not that this is about me, y'all, but y'all know what should be expected of the granddaughter who drove back and forth from Atlanta to South Carolina just to wash her hair, or just to spend the weekend with her, or just to take her out the house, or like just to make her smile and hype her up and laugh, all that. So I really felt some kind of way. When I saw the obituary, y'all, I opened it, I closed it, and I politely got up and exited the church and got back in my car and went back to Atlanta. That moment of opening the obituary, not seeing anything about me and her at all, it just kind of hit me and I realized like, TeQuerra, this is a piece of paper with writing on it that people who don't care for you put together. This church is a building. All of this detail means nothing because these are all the things that people are doing for her after the fact. So I just had a moment of reflecting of everything I've done for my grandmother while she was alive, giving her flowers while she was alive, which is something she always said, making her last days her best days. Like I felt okay and I knew that she was okay with me leaving that church because it didn't feel like her. I didn't feel like I was putting her to rest. So my drive back to Atlanta, I just prayed and I gathered myself and I found my level of peace with her not being here, with the way all of that played out. As far as her burial site, never saw it, still haven't seen it. I have no desire to because I felt that my grandmother left when she died in the hospital. Like her corpse, like her body and all that, it just wasn't her. Her hair didn't look like her. Makeup, like nothing looked like her. I cannot explain it, y'all. Like it just didn't feel like her. I felt like I was at a random person's funeral and again, I'm dreaming of this day. So all these thoughts, all these ideas, all this vision that I had for her was just out the door, out the window, and it meant nothing to me in that church and at that moment. The grieving process for me, honestly, has been good. I have some days where I don't think about her at all because I'm okay, I'm at peace. And at first I would beat myself up about that, but it's like, no, this is what peace feels like. She's good. You did what you needed to do by her. There's no guilt. There's no reason for you to sit in sadness. Sometimes I get sad. I do miss her, but it's like when I think about her, I get happy. Like I have nothing but happy memories, happy videos, happy pictures. Just everything has been good. So for those of you who have so many questions about, her, like literally, this is my first time ever speaking out about that day, those days, how I felt, how I handled it, what went down, how it went, whatever. My first time raw, like talking to y'all, and I feel good about it. I'm in a good space and I'm glad that I didn't remember that today was her death date because that does nothing for me, if I'm honest. Like I don't believe in celebrating the death dates because that was the worst day. When her birthday comes around, I got some big things coming. I'm actually dropping a scent for True Glow Skin Potion dedicated to her. I will go ahead and tell y'all the name of it. It's going to be called Sweet as Apple Cider. Again, if y'all knew my grandmother, she was Ida Sweet as Apple Cider. So I don't know. I'm finding little ways to celebrate her and to keep her alive. And I love that for me. Y'all know I did what I needed to do for my girl. And that's that. I also got hit up by a girl who recently lost her grandmother, asking me how I got over it and all that. Again, when you do right by people, when you have a genuine heart, genuine soul, and you treat others the way you want to be treated, like, I don't know, it just feels good to be a good person. And that was another thing my grandmother always said to me: be true to who you are. To those of you who are grieving and having a hard time getting over it, think about the good that you did for that person, with that person, to that person, the fun you had, the good memories, and think about how they felt. You know what I'm saying? Like, those moments of laughter, just kind of tune yourself out and remember the looks on their faces, the way they felt, the way they embraced you, all of that. Like, I don't know, that is what brought me peace. So I wouldn't say that I'm grieving. I just lost someone very near and dear to me, and she's not here. Like, I can't call her, I can't touch her, I can't smell her, I can't sing with her, I can't dance with her and hype her up. Life is very different now, but I'm so thankful that I got a chance to experience her, have those memories, and record it. Like, I have all those memories documented. But yeah, that is what happened when my grandma passed, and that's why I never really talked about it, because it wasn't anything good to say. And in the moment, I was emotional, and now I'm not. Like, I'm good, I'm at peace. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. And I don't know when another video is coming. It's getting real over here. Bye, y'all.